Awesome. Awesome. Hello, Eric. How are
Hey,
you?
Alan. Fantastic. It's so good to be here. And I have never been to East Africa. This is the closest I get. I'm very excited that this is a good chance for me to learn about Africa, especially East Africa.
Karibu, karibu, as we say in Swahili, karibu East
Yeah.
Africa, but also karibu to the webinar. We shall give our attendees a few minutes to join, and we can use these minutes just to catch up and bring you up to speed what's happening in East Africa. What time is it where you are?
I'm in Singapore. It's 6 p.m. So the sun is about to set. So you can see I still have some lights for the next 1 hour.
Wow, fantastic. We actually, this is 1 p.m. In East Africa, so it's lunch hour, and a lot of people are taking a break to listen to us today.
Oh, what time is lunch, the usual lunch time?
So we start having lunch around 12 p.m. Up to around 2 p.m. is usually considered lunch hour in East Africa.
Ah, okay, 12 to 1. Okay, pretty similar to Singapore. Singapore, I think 1 o'clock lunch is considered late. Yeah, normally we start at 12. Yeah, because of the foreign exchange market, some of the traders, they tend to go for lunch a bit earlier because Tokyo market is 1 hour ahead.
Oh, fantastic. All right. So as we wait for a few more people to roll in, why don't we use these minutes to get to know you better?
Sure.
Of course, I can also do just some intros that we're happy to have you. I've followed your story on LinkedIn. I initially came in contact when the CFA Institute put together a global webinar about how we can leverage social media as investment professionals in the new age. And I like that webinar, and I've followed your stories. I follow you on LinkedIn and Twitter as well.
Oh,
so I'm very delighted actually to speak to you now directly, from being an audience member to moderating a session with you. So welcome, Eric. We are happy to have you.
And yeah, I'm so pleased to reconnect with you again.
All right. Maybe we can start with a little bit of background, just to give us some flavor on who you are and how you have transitioned over the last couple of years. How did you get into investment management? When did you get your CFA charter? Could you share a story for us on how that evolution happened?
Sure. I'll show you when I got my CFA. Can you see this newspaper cutting?
Yes.
This is in 2001.
Wow.
2001.
That is 14th November 2001.
Yeah, 14 November 2001. That's when I got my charter. You can see my name here.
I was still in high school, I believe, at the time.
Yeah. So this is how far back I went, and I wasn't in asset management. I was with Citi. I was just finishing my risk management career at Standard Chartered Bank, and I took all my 3 levels with while I was in Standard Chartered Bank, and when I got my charter, I was with Citi. So my career was not so smooth before CFA, but after CFA, it took off well, and I also joined UBS Investment Bank. Later on, I will tell the audience my career path a little bit more.
Okay, so like you are sharing that the CFA was helpful for you, but maybe let's just delve back a little bit. I was following a story about you on YouTube, a conversation you had with IE Business School.
Yes,
and they were calling you professor. How are you involved in the education space? Do you have a history with teaching? and engaging with students. Is there
Yeah.
anything that we can pick up from there?
I enjoy teaching. So while I was in banking, I was already teaching at several universities. And in 2016, I was made adjunct associate professor at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. So at that university, I was teaching 3 modules about finance and communication, because finance is not just about calculation of the discount cash flows, but also how to win mandates, how to win the trust of customers, how to work in a group, and how to convince other people. So I was teaching the skills that were not taught in school traditionally. Yeah, that's how I came to be teaching a lot. So now I teach at the National University of Singapore, the Nanyang Technological University, also in Singapore, and several universities in China, and also one in Canada called Queen's University.
Oh, awesome. So Eric, how was your childhood like? What did you like to do? And maybe there were some sparks in your life before that lend themselves to a career in investment management. Is there anything we can pick from back then in the younger days?
Yeah, so I was helping my father, who was selling prawn noodle on the street. He's a street food vendor, and I helped him for 10 years. And I picked up some lesson. I picked up hard work. You need to wake up at really, really early. My father woke up at 5 a.m. When I was helping him, I need to go down to the store by 7 a.m. every Sunday without fail. I was like 12 years old until I was 22 years old. I learned about dealing with the customers, speaking their language, because in Singapore, we spoke several dialects. So I need to pick up dialects as well, watching body language. And also one thing that helped me in banking is multitasking. So when I'm talking to a customer taking order, my ears must be listening to another customer who tries to pay, because in Singapore at that time, they pay only after finishing eating. And I need to be watching out, the other eye must be watching out the customer trying to run away without paying, because you work so hard and customer ran away and then you don't make the money. So multitasking was very important skills to have at the street food store, and I brought it to my FX corporate sales FX business, because I need to be on the phone with the corporate clients talking about foreign exchange. I need to be listening to the traders who are giving me prices, and sometimes the traders can off the price, and I need to quickly tell the client that the price is off, and I need to quote a new price. Otherwise, if the client hit me, then I may make a loss for the bank.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, in the dealing room, there are so many different noise coming in.
Yeah. Ah, fantastic story. Eric, we have about 50 attendees already, and I think we can use this moment to kick off our conversation today.
Sure.
For our audience members, we are here to talk about building an online presence, leveraging social media. And we are here to hear from one of the most eminent CFA charter holders. It's reported, and there's also evidence, by the way, that is the most followed CFA charter holders on social media. How many followers do you have now?
Now, over 2 million.
Over 2 million. Wow. I've struggled for 2 years to get to 1,500.
Yeah.
I'm delighted to pick your minds on how I can double that number. And I'm looking forward to hear you sharing the strategies we can use to improve our presence online, but also to grow our network and our communities. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you, Eric. For the audience, Eric has had a very interesting journey, but I'll just share 2 tidbits I've picked up. Eric is an author. of Small Actions, a very interesting book. I haven't had the opportunity to read it, but I'm going to be looking out for it very, very soon. And Eric is also a financial lecturer in a number of universities in Asia and Asia Pacific area. And he previously was the MD was that investment banking at UBS?
Yeah, investment banking. So typical investment banking work, IPO, M&A, and bond issue.
So right now you will be interested to know that UBS is in the news again about M&A activity. I'm sure it gives you a smile to know what's going on in the back end about UBS.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So welcome, Karibu. Eric, the audience is ready. We are happy to listen to you sharing your mind and insights on how best we can build our brands online. And we are very delighted to have you speaking to our community in East Africa. Welcome.
All right. Thank you, Alan, and thank you, the CFA Society of East Africa to invite me. It is my pleasure to be here with you. And today I'm going to share with you how to build your online presence to improve your career success. So with online presence, I was able to meet people like Shakiru in London. So I wrote my first article back in 2015, and Shakiru down here, he was working in the energy sector based out of London. He engaged with my post, and then when I went to London, I met up with him. And every time I go to London, we catch up. So that's how the power of online presence is. When you have it, it helps you to expand your network. And now I just want to quickly just go through my career a little bit for those people who miss it. I started my career with DBS Bank in Singapore selling foreign exchange. And I went on I didn't do so well because I lacked social skills. I was an engineer by training. I didn't know how to talk to people. Then I went on to the UK to do a Masters of Science in Finance at Lancaster University. I was trying to look for a job in London. I couldn't find a job. So I came back to Singapore, and it was in 1997. And that was the Asian financial crisis. Currency weakened by 30 to 40% in Singapore, and in other countries, some by more than 100%. So I got no job. Then I went to do risk management. And fortunately, I found a job at Standard Chartered Bank. And during my time in Standard Chartered Bank, I did CFA level 1, 2, and 3, and I got my CFA. Then with that, I was able to join Citibank in the derivative market, also in investment bank. And my last banking job was MD at UBS Investment Bank. I also like to teach. I taught in several universities in Asia. I also have my own company called Institute of Life, and I speak at CFA events, including this one, and around the world. I also been to India, been to Bahrain and Beijing. I also write on LinkedIn, and last year I wrote a book called Small Action, which I'll share with you a bit more. So what we need to do to build our online presence. Today, I have 7 points to show you. The first one is be a combo specialist. Because a lot of time, we want to be online, we need to be unique. Because as a CFA charter holder or a candidate in finance, that's not unique enough, because a lot of finance people are also doing CFA. So how can we be unique? You have been to McDonald's, right? And McDonald's, there's a combo meal called, it has a burger, French fries, and Coke. So the burger is your core specialization. The fries is your secondary specialization, and Coke is your interest. So how did I do it? So when I was in banking, my first job at DBS Bank, I went in as an engineer. I was an engineer by training. That's what I did when I was at the National University of Singapore. Then I did finance. I was selling foreign exchange. What was my interest? My interest was computer programming, like this. So I was able to use computer programming to automate some of the processes for the dealing room. So that helped me last a little bit longer, because I lack social skills. I would have been fired, I think, in about 6 months. But because I have got some computer programming skills, I was able to help the other department to automate mundane processes. I got to stay until for over 2 years. Then after that, I combined finance and engineering to do financial engineering at Citibank. But I know I need to start doing sales, because in finance, if you want to get paid and get promoted, you need to acquire some selling skills. So I say that, let me at this time, right, pick up some selling skills. So I pick up some selling skills, and also I built in my interest. My interest was in photography. So I was helping to take photos at client's event. So at client's event, I'll take photos of the client and my colleagues. After the event, I send them the photo. I have a chance to develop a relationship with the customers as well as with the colleagues. With that, right, I combined a few of this to do investment banking, because now I know how to sell. I got financial engineering and I know the customers, so I did investment banking at UBS. But it's not enough for me. I wanted to teach as well, so I picked up teaching. So I went to the school to teach banking and finance, investment banking. And my interest was in social media, so I started writing on LinkedIn. So now I'm a teacher in the university. I'm teaching career and life skills on top of banking finance. And my interest is making video. And I also have another job. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. And now my interest is in visual communication. Visual communication is doing a poster, knowing colors. And this is also very important for your online presence. So for you, when you want to go online, don't think of yourself as a CFA candidate only or an asset manager only. Think of yourself as a combo specialist. What can you add? Can you be the connector between Africa and Asia? Can you be the connector between finance and another industry? So there are many things that you can do. Or maybe you have interest. Your interest is to show about Africa or your country to the rest of the world on social media. So when people come to you, not only they learn about finance or they know you're a finance specialist, but you are also showing the world more about Africa, because Africa is growing. There are many people with huge amount of interest. But for Asia, because it's so far away, sometimes we never get to the chance to see it with our own eyes. So you can be the one to help us. Then how about number two? Number two, on social media, we need to be consistent. So just now, number one is to be unique, is to be different from other people. Now you need to be the same. What do you mean by the same? To be the same everywhere on all your social media platforms. So we need to have a social media strategy. So you can use LinkedIn as the main, but you may still have other social media accounts. You could be on Facebook, Twitter, you could be on Instagram as well. So what I do is I write on LinkedIn and then I share my content on other platforms. You could also be on WhatsApp, WeChat, or Lines, or even YouTube. So if you want to communicate with the mainland Chinese, you may be also on WeChat, or like Taiwanese and Japanese, they are online. And we want to be consistent. So what do you mean by consistent? Consistent means in my case, I have the same photo. Right, you can see my photo is the same. I have the same title: banker, lecturer, speaker, writer. Banker, lecturer, speaker, writer. Banker, speaker, lecturer, speaker, writer. And also on my LinkedIn as well, on my WhatsApp, it's always the same. So in this way, your brand can appear. It is difficult if you are different in everywhere. Imagine Adidas. Adidas sells sports shoe. Can Adidas sell high-end leather shoes? Yes, it can. But if it does that, right, it will do it under a different brand. It will not put it under Adidas. So Adidas everywhere, only sports shoes. That's how it keeps its brand. And the branding, the logo, the color is consistent everywhere. And the next thing that we want to do is to use your external brand to enhance your internal reputation. So as you build your online presence, you will start to have a brand outside. Why do we want to do that? Why do we want to use our external brand to enhance our internal reputation? Because once we join a company, it is very difficult to change the perception of us after 6 months. Sometimes we make a mistake because the company is new to us, we did not know. And if somebody thinks that you are lazy or hardworking, you are creative or traditional, you are flexible or stubborn, it's difficult to change after 6 months. But we can change that by having our online presence externally. So I'll show you one example of this lady. Let me move a little bit. Yeah, her name is Anna. So she said this, right? She was with one of the big four, and she said that chasing opportunities and sending countless follow-up emails didn't get me closer to my dream role. So I followed the advice in small actions. New opportunities started presenting themselves. I was also offered a promotion as my team looked at me in a different light. Anna started a podcast. And so she was no longer seen as just working in Big Four auditing firm. She was also helping junior people to understand career and inviting senior professionals to come to her podcast to offer career advice to her audience. And as you can see, that enhances her brand internally. And with that, right, she got a promotion. And also externally, people start reaching out to her and offer her job opportunity. And with that, she managed to move to a job that she really, really likes. And next is to showcase your knowledge. So as online presence, we need to put a nice photo. We need to also be consistent. But it's so important to showcase our knowledge. So our knowledge can be about banking finance. So recently, in my case, I showed the UBS Credit Suisse acquisition. In fact, it was just on Tuesday, yesterday that I showed this. So I read in Financial Times. I gathered all the information and I put down the consideration. Consideration means how much is the purchase price. It's 3 billion Swiss franc. And I compare it against the Twitter's acquisition by Elon Musk. In this way, people then can compare and contrast, right? Rather than just putting UBS Credit Suisse, I put the two together. So one is 3 billion Swiss franc, which is about 3.5 billion US. And Twitter's case is 44 billion. So you can see this case is less than 1/12 or 1/14 times the Elon Musk Twitter's case. Size-wise, consideration is very small. Mix is all share. Elon Musk paid all cash. And here's the share per the price per share. And normally you need to pay a premium. Elon Musk paid 38% premium on the last trading price, but UBS paid 59% discount to the last trading price. So very different. Who initiated this? Of course, for the Twitter case, Elon Musk initiated. For UBS, it was the Swiss regulator and also the Department of Finance. Shareholders approval normally is required, but in the UBS case was not required. All of this information is available out there. It's available in Financial Times and Economist. I put them together in the table for the audience, and the audience really appreciate it, right? They could have read it, but a lot of people got no time, so I just make it easy and make the comparison so they can remember the facts better. And they know how this is different from other cases and how this is so special. So I gathered some 800 likes, 100,000, more than 100,000 impressions. So you can also do the same. Find something that you think might help other people and present it in a simple way. But we don't always have to present things or don't have always to post about banking finance. It can be something as simple as this case. This is talking about walk and talk. I say that instead of meeting for a meal or coffee, I sometimes suggest to my business partner that we go for a walk and talk. And there are 5 benefits. You don't have to maintain eye contact all the time. This allows you to talk more freely and easily. Silence is not weird because there is movement. And unlike in a restaurant, there's no distraction from the service staff asking, how's your food? Your mood will not be affected by bad service. So it can also be something more personal, as long you can then add benefit. So this will build your online presence as long as you have content. But what happens if you're starting out? If you're starting out, it's quite scary to write a post. So you don't have to write a post. You can always leave a comment on insightful posts. I'm going to, let me see whether is it possible. Ellen, is it possible to share things with, to share the link, if my articles link, if I want to share with the audience so that they can go and read it?
Sure.
Would they be able to find it? Yeah.
Yes, they will be able to see it in the chat.
In the chat, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Let me just find the chat. Okay, I got the chat. But this is only to hosts and panelists. It's not to everyone. Okay, I'm just going to put to hosts and panelists. Can you put this in the question? Or in the Q&A, would everybody be able to see the question?
Let me put it in the Q&A as well.
Okay.
Just in case.
Yeah, so I hope the audience can see this. If not, you can go on to my LinkedIn to look for it, the articles that I mentioned.
Okay, only hosted panelists can see the questions, unfortunately. We shall share online.
Yeah, you
across
can,
the different channels as well.
Sure. Yeah, okay. So if you go to my LinkedIn right now, my name is Eric Sim. If you just search for Eric Sim, you should be able to find me on LinkedIn, and you will be able to see the articles. Yeah. I have put them, I have featured them under my LinkedIn feature. All right. Yeah. Okay. That is good. Let me continue. Number 5 is when you go online, people want to know your story. It's not good enough to just giving facts, talking about UBS, Credit Suisse. All those facts, right? It's difficult for people to remember after a while. So you can show some of those, but you should also try to help people understand you, because everyone has a unique story. I'll show you my story. So just now, this Alan was asking me, what I do, how was my childhood. So this is my father selling noodle in a hawker store. And, when I grew up, I continued to do that. I continued to help him at the hawker store and also help some other people who are also hawkers. And some people say, hey, Eric, despite you being a street vendor's son, you make MD at a bulge bracket investment bank. I say you're wrong. It's not despite. I say it's because I was a hawker son, I make MD at UBS because I was learning so much about work ethics, about hard work from my father and also from the other hawkers. And so when I went to do banking, I make sure the product that I sell to my customers are the products that I would buy if I were in the customer's situation. So this is what I was taught at the hawker store. You must always be honest. And I was once washing bowls. So when we wash bowls at the street food store, we didn't have like tap water. So I have 3 pails of water, and the first pail was water with soap solution. So I will put the bowl inside there, and I'll wash it with a sponge, put it into the second pail of water. The second pail of water is clean water. I rinse it, then put it on the third pail, wash it, rinse it again in the third pail of water. And it's quite clean. It's quite a clean system. But after about 30 bowls, the second pail of water starts becoming a bit murky. And sometimes I don't trust the way I wash the bowls. I don't know whether you've been to some restaurant or food store. Sometimes there are a little bit of food left over. It got stuck onto the bowl when you're served a clean bowl, but sometimes it looks a bit dirty. So when I was cooking for myself, I was age 17. Finally, I was promoted and allowed to cook for customers and for myself. I took a bowl, I turned around, and I washed it again. This time around at the cooking station, there was running water. That's the only tap. My father caught me and said, never wash the bowl again for the second time. Because if the bowl is clean enough for the customers, it's clean enough for you. From that day onwards, either I make sure that I wash the bowl very clean, and I never wash my bowl the second time. I use the same bowl as the customers. So I brought this to banking, and I make sure that I treat the customers how I would treat myself. Let me continue. So a story, right, has 3 elements. One is the setting, second is the conflict, third is the resolution. So just now, what's the setting? Setting was my childhood. What's the conflict? Hard work. I didn't do well in school because I need to help my father. I didn't have time to play, and I got no idea about the outside world. I didn't even watch movie until I was aged like 15 or 16. I couldn't even ride a bicycle. And I got very few friends. Right? So what's the resolution? Resolution is the happy ending. So eventually, I still make a good career out of banking. So you also can tell the story, because everybody will have their difficulty, their hardship. It's personal to you. There's no right or wrong. And if you can then now think of something and then you can put it, it can be on your LinkedIn. It can be something that you use as an opening or when you go for networking. So this become part of your presentation, and hopefully you one day will be willing to share it online. And that makes it so much more powerful than people remember you. So that is what is your story. Number 6 is the strength of weak ties. When we have good online presence, we can make connection. But these connections are what we call weak ties. They are not like best of friends. For example, Alan and I, he has listened to me 2 years ago, and then today we meet. We are weak ties, but weak ties can be really powerful. Let me show you one example. So this is George Otim, right, from Uganda. He listened to my talk I did for Nigeria Society last year. And from there, he got to know me, and then he said that, hey, can we then now do something for East Africa? You see, he and me, we never met. When we are so far away, right? He's in East Africa, I'm in Singapore, Hong Kong. But yet, because we are connected, this weak link make today happen. Without him, or without our weak link, we wouldn't have this webinar, and today I wouldn't meet you today, right? And I thought we can make use of our network. Once you go online, we can. Can we give George some airtime? Can we bring him on stage, make him a panelist, and invite him to speak? So thanks to CFA for connecting us. You see, a lot of jobs, right, are not advertised. This is the jobs that are advertised. Down here, only about 20% of the jobs are advertised. A lot of jobs are hidden. And these hidden jobs you can only get them.
Hi, Eric.
Through your weak ties. Hey, George, so good to have you. And thanks for initiating this event. And without you, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, we appreciate you creating the time as well to share your insights on how to eventually be successful online. We are very grateful.
Thank you so much. And later on, please join us in the Q&A.
Absolutely, sure.
Okay, I will continue. Thanks, George.
You're welcome.
So then how do we reach out? Building online presence is not just put up a nice profile, write 2 articles, and that's it, and hoping people come. No, we have to reach out because everybody is shy. Some people have ego. Some people do not know that you exist. So always try to reach out to people. Like George, he reached out to say, hey, come, let's do this, right? He didn't wait for me to reach out to him. So I want to show you one person. His name is John Patrick Mullen, American young man working in Shanghai. And from my social media, he knew I was going to Shanghai. So he wrote this to me. He said, dear Eric, hope all is well. I've been following your page for a while now, and you really put out some interesting and informative content. I can really see you're passionate about helping and teaching the younger generation. And as part of that generation, I appreciate it. So very nice email. And he wanted to ask me out for coffee or meeting when I'm in Shanghai. So I was based in Hong Kong at that time. In 2016, I was flying. But I received many of such requests and I really don't have time. So what did I say to him? I said, no, but in a nice way, all right? So I say that, thanks for following me on LinkedIn. This Shanghai trip is a little bit tight. I may give a talk at NYU in Shanghai in November. So if you receive a rejection like that, what would you do? Normally you would be thinking, this Eric Sim, very arrogant guy, right? Never even bother. I wrote him such a sincere message, he didn't want to spend time with me. What did John do? Or what did John do? How did John reply? So John didn't get angry or upset. He just said, my pleasure, not a problem. Figure out it would be, but thought I'd reach out regardless. I will continue to follow your update. And next time I'm in Hong Kong, I'll reach out to see if you're available. John didn't give up. He tried again. So when we go online, usually the first time you get rejected is normal. I reject 80 to 90% of people who comes to me to test them. So if they come second, third time, usually I give them a bit of my time. So then I invited John to say, I cannot speak with you, but you can come for my talk. I give you a free entrance pass. So he came, he listened to the talk. We spoke for 1-2 minutes, but after that, I see that he's quite sincere. I invited him to be my teaching assistant. And after that, 3 years later, he wrote this. It is not too often you meet someone who truly changes your life. But on this very day, 3 years ago, I can say I met someone who did that to me. I just wanted to share a small note of appreciation to Eric Sin for all that he has done for me over the years for changing my life for the better. So as you can see, sometimes, right, one connection can make a huge difference to your life, but you must be the one reaching out. So before you reach out, you have a decent profile and online presence. So when somebody checks your content, they are more likely to agree to meet up with you or to spend some time with you. And also don't take rejection personally. A lot of time, people are just too busy. All right. So this is John. If you want to connect with him, you can do so. John Patrick Mullen, if you can take a screenshot, and then you can look him up online on LinkedIn. He's based in Hong Kong now. So today, I also want to introduce a few people so that you can expand your network. So one person is John. I'll introduce a few more later on. So the last thing I want to do is, I want to share before we go into Q&A is your Zoom presence. Online presence include how you present yourself via Zoom. Number one is to have a clear audio, because not just seeing, but your audio, is it clear? So I have a microphone down here. So you can see down here, let me put it down further. You can see I have a microphone here, you can hear. So sometimes if you use your laptop microphone, it sounds a bit hollow. You may need to buy a separate one. And these days, microphone varies. Even the $30 one can already improve your audio quality substantially. And just now, Alan, he was wearing a headset. That quality is superb. So maybe we can ask Alan what brand that is, then we can get that one. And the second thing is your camera. Your camera, you should be looking at your camera so they can build your rapport with the audience. I have a camera that's separate from my laptop, because normally for your laptop camera, it doesn't look so good. Laptop camera, let's say if I use my FaceTime camera, it will be coming up, right? Looking at my double chin, and it wouldn't be nice. So you don't want people to look at your double chin or look up your nostril. You want people to see you eye level, and also lighting. If you notice, part of my face is a bit brighter than the other part. So this to give it more a 3D effect. It's called the Rembrandt lighting. It's like me sitting next to the window. Rembrandt is one of the very famous artists. He always sit his subject next to the window to give it more 3D. If I have the light, which is bright, then it looks very flat. And also you can decorate your background with something interesting. For example, I got the LinkedIn award, and I just put it down here behind. So it becomes a talking point. Somebody might ask you, oh, what's that? Oh, that is my LinkedIn award. And you can also put some lights around. All these lights are not too expensive. I just bought it from IKEA, or you can just buy from neighborhood stores as well. And just one simple light can already make a huge difference. Let me see whether I can turn this light on. Just one simple light can already make a huge difference. So I can make my face, just now I say that it's not good if it's very flat. Sometimes it's like that. It looks quite nice, but a bit flat, not as interesting. Here is slightly more interesting, or I can fill it up. All right, just something like that. You can also put it behind you to make you stand out a little bit more. And if you notice when I present, sometimes, I'm switching between my slides and myself. I can even write down here, if I want, on the right-hand side, CFA. So when you present, imagine you're talking to customers. This is also part of your online presence, right? Because it's digital. You will be able to gain so much trust, and people will want to listen to you more if you can make use of technology. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. So these are the 7 points to help you build your online presence. And I would want to show you what I have. This is my equipment, my microphone, my camera, my LinkedIn, my lights, some lights, my iPad, which I'm using now. So that is what I want to share with you today. Hopefully, with all these 7 tips, you can build your online presence and you can start connecting with people. So I have my book as well. A lot of my tips are in my book. It's called Small Action. You can get it on Amazon. I'll just leave it in the chat, and so that Alan can share with you. And since you are here today, it is important to make use of CFA network. CFA is not just in East Africa or Africa, it's around the world, more than 100 societies. So feel free to connect with Anil, CFA India, Sabai, CFA Germany, Bunpin, CFA Singapore. And when you go online on LinkedIn to talk to them, and then if you mention my name, they'll be very happy to connect with you. And this is how you start building your online presence, one at a time, because these are the people. It's not about us posting content and hoping people come. No, we reach out. Then next time when you post content, you got a few more people to engage with your content. Let me copy their LinkedIn profile onto the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just putting into the chat. So Alan, if there are ways to put it on somewhere for the attendees to see. Yeah. Otherwise, you can also take a screenshot, get their name, then you will be able to connect with them by mentioning mine. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Hey, Alan, cannot hear you. Oh, it's so good. I can see the participant name. I can see many people and a few people from Asia. I saw Cami Tan from Asia. I can see Alfred Otuka, Arnold. There are 2 Arnold here, and Bernard, Charles, Doris. Also another Eric, but with ERICK.
Okay, Eric, am I audible now?
Yep, you sound good.
Hi, fantastic. Oh, thank you very much for those top tips for us to consider in building our brand online. I just wanted to go back to your insight number 3. I kind of missed it. Was that on content?
Okay, yes. Number 3 is I think number 4 is content. Number 3, let me see what number 3 is.
Number 4 was showcase our knowledge online.
Yeah, and number 3 is use your external brand to enhance your internal reputation.
Use the external brand to enhance the internal reputation. Can you maybe just throw a little bit more salt there?
Yeah, sure. So you see, why do we want to build our online presence? Right? One of the benefit is your online presence could be on LinkedIn or social media, but that can flow back into the company. So if you are speaking at an event like Alan today, then somebody may post, then your company will know, oh, Alan is doing a good job outside. And sometimes we may not be in a leadership position in our company, but we could be a volunteer or in a leadership position in CFA. So if you're doing a lot of leadership role outside, your colleagues going to think you are a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we can use our external brand to enhance our internal reputation.
Internal reputation. Fantastic. Okay, I'll just have a follow-up question on something else.
Sure.
I noticed the quality of your pictures across your social media platforms. Is this, do you have to go to a professional photographer? Is it something you recommend? Because I noticed in East Africa, for a lot of us, we take pictures using our phones, selfies sometimes common on some of the social media platforms.
Yeah.
What will be your guidance on how do we approach the visual side of the brand that we're trying to sell, a personal brand? How do you approach it?
So number one, mobile phone is very powerful. So whether is it an iPhone or any other phone, Android phone, these days the camera is so good that you do not need to buy a separate phone. But what you need to pay attention is lighting. So just now I show you about lighting. So like for Alan, you have got a big window in front of you, so you look great right now, right? Because of lighting. That's one. Number two, you're positioning the angle. And a lot of time when I position myself, I use the rule of third. I don't position myself straight in the middle. I position myself to one side.
Oh.
So that makes it look a bit different. And even my profile photo, if you go to LinkedIn and look at my profile photo, let me see whether I can show you. And am I allowed to share screen from here?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, let me share screen. Oh, disabled. Yeah, so I cannot share screen. Sorry. Okay. But if you now go to my LinkedIn, you can see that my eyes are also not in the middle. Yeah. One of my eyes in the center, one of my eyes to one side. So that makes your photo more dynamic, is as if it's moving. Because if it's very centered, it becomes too stable, then it's boring, because that's what most photos are. And also have a bit of color. So I have got white and dark color. So there is contrast. So when I take a photo, I also got backlight. Can you see like there is a glow from here? That also helps. So just use mobile phone to try. And sometimes you can try left side or right side. So when I take photo for LinkedIn, right? You can position your body like that or like that, rather than straight on. And try to look at, when you put the profile photo, try to let your body point towards the banner.
Awesome. For the audience, if you have any questions for Eric, please feel free to put up your hand. We can upgrade you to a panelist. or if you are shy, you feel free to write in the chat or in the Q&A. We should be able to moderate your questions, and Eric, I'm sure he will be happy to respond to that. Eric, before perhaps we receive more questions from the audience, there is a fear among us investment professionals and many people in finance that AI is going to eat our jobs. We are being asked now to present ourselves online, but we are seeing all these changes happening in the digital space. How do we balance building this online presence, but also knowing that there are a lot of changes happening through technology? How do we navigate?
Yeah, sure. Online presence cannot be taken away, right? Because what AI lacks is a personal story. So just now, one of my points is the personal story. In fact, Happy Masal say, hey, can we have a list of all the 7 points? And can somebody list down the 7 points, if you remember? Yeah. If not, later on, I'll give it to you. So online presence and this tech changing world is separate, okay? With tech, most people are spending a lot of time on mobile phones. So on average, one person spends 3 hours on mobile phone or on computer. When they are on computer, are you there? When they are surfing the internet, are you appearing? If you're not appearing, then you are out of sight, out of mind. Very soon, opportunities will not come to you, because opportunities are given to people who can be recalled easily. So somebody say, hey, there's a great opportunity in East Africa. Who will you recommend? The people that I know is Josh, Alan, and Ruth, right? Because I see them, I know them. But the other people I do not know. I can't possibly scan 1,000 people and find out the best candidate. No, it's not like that. It's not the best person, but it's the person that comes to mind. So your online presence is one. Number 2 is, just now with technology, with this ChatGPT, we need to know how to use AI and be the operator. So we may not be, it's not so easily to, we may not be easily replaced if we can add the human element to it. That means we can negotiate, we can read people, we know how to sell. AI can't do the selling, but selling is something more emotional. That's why you need to have a story ready to tell online and in person. Thank you for asking, Alan.
Thank you for giving us those insights. If there are any questions from the audience, please feel free to either raise your hand or put that in the chat, and we should be able to respond to you as well. Eric, a common question from younger people is, if you're spending all this energy building a brand online, how do you monetize it? And is it possible to monetize as you build it out? And 2, is there a magical number? I've had numbers thrown around. You need to have 2,000 connections on LinkedIn, 3,000, 5,000. Is it a thing? Is it something we should pursue as a goal?
Okay. In my case, I have monetized a lot because I was invited to speak with very good speaking fees. I was invited to write sponsored content with also very good fees. I was invited to teach in the university as well. And more importantly, beside this money is also the relationship that I form. Let's say, for example, you, Alan, you and I, we meet today. Maybe you come to Singapore, I go to Africa. You show me around for 2 hours when I'm there. You show me the best place to eat. That is something money cannot buy, and I value that a lot. Yeah. So sometimes, right, there is monetization, but there are also a lot of other value. And when you have relationship, you have opportunities. And remember, opportunities are like balloon. Somebody is holding the balloon. You want the balloon, you need to know the person holding the balloon. Balloon doesn't just appear out of nowhere without a person putting it there. And that's what this online presence is for. And imagine, because you have a connection, the person refer you a job, which is what happened to me. A few people recommended me jobs, and that is monetization.
Oh, wow, fantastic stuff. Eric, we've come to the top of the hour. We had scheduled for an hour and we don't want to steal your time, but we really, really appreciate your insights that you've taken time to break down for us. And I'm sure many people in the audience are going to follow you and be able to follow your story, but also keep following on these tidbits. I'm going to ask George, just maybe to share your 1 or 2 words, how you make the weak ties with Eric, but also if you have anything else you want to take off your mind. Let's use this minute to do that.
Sorry, can you see me?
Yes,
sure,
I can see you, George.
Good. Unfortunately, from your last presentation, Eric, I haven't yet gotten the chance to acquire all those gadgets, despite being in attending your webinar. But we do appreciate I'm still using the laptop camera, and at a restaurant from a meeting, so I felt it was quite important for me to listen in and enjoy again your presentation. I'm sure everyone enjoyed the insights and how to build an online presence, and we are very appreciative from the CFA Society here, and look forward to further engagements in case there's something we'll need help on. We'll definitely reach out to you as always.
That's great. Thanks, George, for making this happen today, and I really highly appreciate it. There's one question.
Yes. There is one question. There's
Hmm.
one question by Kamitan. It's really about your book. She's wondering what inspired you to write the book, and when is the best time to start for any individual to start on writing their own book.
So I wanted to give the advice to young people, the advice I wish I had when I was 22 years old. So that's the motivation for writing this book. I've done the hard way, so why let other people suffer what I suffered? Might as well share with them what I know, so they can go on to do something bigger and contribute to the society quicker and faster. So there's one more person asking podcasts and books that you recommend to enhance online presence. Small Action, my book, I have got a huge chunk of it on LinkedIn. It's on Tinder. Small Action, Leading Your Career to Big Success. I mentioned LinkedIn 100 times in that book. You can check it out. And I have podcasts on my Instagram. If you search for Institute of Life on Instagram, you will be able to see several of my podcasts where I'm the guest. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Eric. And for everybody here, thank you for staying with us till the very end. We appreciate you taking the time, and we will see you next time for another webinar. Eric, it's always a pleasure listening to you. I'll keep stalking you on YouTube and Insta, but thank you for always having very interesting insights.
Thank you so much.
I wish you a blessed day, and thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.